Well, good morning, and welcome to the inaugural Alabama Chapters Conference for the Federalist Society. My name is Jay Mitchell, and I'm an Associate Justice on the Alabama Supreme Court. And I got to tell you, it's an incredible feeling to be standing up here looking out over this crowd, to see Alabama's conservative judges, lawyers, scholars, and students all assembled together in one room for the first time I can ever remember. And one of the things that makes this moment so special is that it's not just a one-off. We are part of a bigger story. And I want to take a few minutes to situate everyone here within that story. Let's go back to 1982. It's near the end of the spring semester at Yale Law School. And the students there are looking out at the country they're about to inherit. President Reagan has just finished his first year in office. He's pulling the country out of the worst recession since World War II, and he's trying to figure out how to win the Cold War. But conservatives have really got their work cut out for them. The national government has been in shambles for a long time, and nowhere is the rot worse than in the legal system. Living constitutionalism and judicial supremacy are in full flower. The Supreme Court has replaced the actual text of the Constitution with the justices' personal musings about emanations and penumbras, and has held that those musings, rather than the text of the Constitution itself, are the supreme law of the land. A few law students, one at Yale and two at the University of Chicago, look around at this situation, and inspired by President Reagan's recent victory, they decide to take action. They ask a group of conservative judges, scholars, and lawyers to come together for a 3-day conference to exchange ideas, to strategize, to commiserate. And they decide to hold that conference in the belly of the beast, at Yale Law School itself, during the last weekend in April 1982, just as the spring semester of law school is coming to an end. Now, they don't pick the most exciting title. They call it a Symposium on Federalism, Legal and Political Ramifications. But it becomes more than just a symposium. It's the birth of this society. The folks in attendance that weekend included some names you might have heard of: Antonin Scalia, Robert Bork. And when the attendees left the conference, they knew they'd hit on something special. One of them said it was an intellectual fire burning. He was right. That group of students kept the flame lit, and 5 months later, it was official. The Federalist Society for Law and Public Policy Studies was registered as a nonprofit organization. Not long after, in 1985, United States Attorney General Ed Meese delivered his legendary speech on originalism to the American Bar Association. And in that speech, General Meese demolished living constitutionalism and judicial supremacy. He described the Supreme Court's jurisprudence at the time as what it was: a bizarre and unprincipled collection of policy choices wholly divorced from any underlying constitutional principle or legal reasoning. He advocated something that was revolutionary for the time: a jurisprudence of constitutional restoration, a return to the notion that we are governed by laws, not men. This was the beginning of the originalist reawakening. And with that speech, we were off to the races. The Federalist Society ballooned, seemingly overnight. Soon, it had established a national office in Washington, D.C., and chapters in dozens of law schools: Harvard, Chicago, Stanford, Georgetown. And around that same time, a 1L at Tulane Law School in New Orleans founded one of the first chapters of the Federalist Society in the Deep South. His name was William Pryor. Now, Chief Judge Pryor is the godfather of many things in Alabama, and the Federalist Society is one of them. After founding the Tulane chapter as a student, he went on to found the Birmingham chapter as a practitioner. And then he nurtured the Montgomery and Alabama Law School chapters as well. It's not an exaggeration to say that every Federalist Society chapter in this state owes its existence, either directly or indirectly, to Chief Judge Pryor and his relentless devotion to constitutional restoration and the rule of law. And if we could, I'd like to just pause right here and take a moment to honor Chief Judge Pryor, because without him, we wouldn't be here right now. The network of conservative lawyers that Bill Pryor had built in Alabama was about to pay serious dividends. In 1994, Pryor got to know another seminal figure in Alabama law, Jeff Sessions, who at the time was running for Alabama Attorney General and would go on to make Pryor his deputy, his right-hand man. Now, I don't think either Pryor or Sessions realized this at the time, but Sessions was about to go down in history as one of the greatest attorneys general our state has ever known. He would also, of course, go on to become one of the greatest attorneys general our federal government has known, on everything from immigration to criminal justice to cleaning house at the Department of Justice. General Sessions did unparalleled work safeguarding the rule of law. And I'd like to pause here for a moment to honor General Sessions for his invaluable service to our state and to our nation. Now, when Sessions left the Alabama AG's office to join the United States Senate, Alabama's Governor, Fob James, knew that Pryor was the only man fit to succeed him. Pryor was only 34, making him the youngest attorney general in the country. To say that Chief Judge Pryor did big things during his time as AG would be an understatement. He took the same energy and devotion he'd poured into the Federalist Society and founded a similar organization for state AGs called RAGA, the Republican Attorneys General Association, which after the Federalist Society itself is probably the most significant legal group in the nation. Pryor also created the position of Alabama Solicitor General, one of the first offices of its kind, to serve as the state's appellate specialist. Our SG's office is small but mighty. It consists of just a handful of attorneys, right now only 3, but it handles more work than similar offices in other states with 2, 3, or even 4 times the staff. We're very blessed that nearly all the men who have served in that role since Chief Judge Pryor created it are here in this room with us today. 11th Circuit Judges Kevin Newsom and Andrew Brasher, Northern District of Alabama Judge Corey Mays, my former law partner at Maynard Cooper, John Nyman, and the current Solicitor General is Eddie LaCour, who couldn't be here with us in person today, but is with us in spirit thanks to the presence of his 2 deputies, Barrett Bowdry and Taxi Wilson. Also here with us today is our state's 48th Attorney General, Steve Marshall. Now, General Marshall's down the street right now delivering remarks at Cumberland Law School, but he will be here with us later today. General Marshall has taken the torch passed down by Jeff Sessions, Bill Pryor, and Luther Strange, and he's running with it. In fact, it's worth taking a moment to appreciate the important work that all of the folks in our AG's office are doing right now. They're gearing up to argue a massive voting rights case before the U.S. Supreme Court next month. And they've brought a slew of lawsuits to curb federal overreach on everything from COVID restrictions to wokeness in schools. The attorneys in that office are doing great things for the state, and we are blessed to have them. Finally, as a justice on the Alabama Supreme Court, I have to take a moment to acknowledge all the terrific judges, state and federal, who are here with us today. Thanks to their hard work and devotion to the rule of law, the principles of textualism and originalism are gaining serious traction in our state. And in particular, this society owes much to the efforts of former Justices Hugh Maddox, Gorman Houston, and Harold C., among others, who were all early supporters of the Federalist Society and helped it to gain a foothold in Alabama. And I specifically want to acknowledge my current colleagues on the Alabama Supreme Court who are here with us today: Chief Justice Tom Parker and Associate Justices Tommy Bryan, Brad Mendham, and Sarah Stewart. If you're a judge, trial or appellate, state or federal, would you please stand for a moment so we can honor you? It's pretty amazing to realize that the incredible things folks in this room are doing as jurists and as litigators can be traced back to that inaugural conference 40 years ago in 1982. And I think that when we look back on today's conference 40 years from now, when we think about what the people in this room will have gone on to accomplish, we'll be even more blown away. Well, with the few minutes I've got left, I want to preview what we have in store for y'all today. We'll be starting off with two terrific panels. Our first panel will be talking about how private attorneys are litigating on the front lines of major battles alongside state AGs. We've brought in a group of all-star litigators for this panel: Ashley Keller, John Nyman, Gibson Vance, and as moderator, Annie Donaldson-Talley. Our second panel features the 11th Circuit judges you've already heard me talk so much about: Chief Judge Bill Pryor and Judges Kevin Newsom and Andrew Brasher. These men are not only Alabama's representatives on the 11th Circuit, they're also all alums of our state AG's office and are among the most brilliant legal minds and most devoted public servants in the judiciary. Their panel will be moderated by Professor Ken Rosen from Alabama Law School. Professor Rosen is the faculty advisor to the Law School Federalist Society chapter, and he himself clerked for Alabama 11th Circuit Judge Ed Carnes. Finally, we'll wrap up with remarks by Judge Jeffrey Sutton, Chief Judge of the Sixth Circuit, who has written two wonderful books on federalism, 51 Imperfect Solutions and Who Decides, each of which describes the crucial role that state courts and state constitutions play in our republic. I really believe that the ideas we discuss today and the relationships that we form in this room are something we can carry back to our judicial chambers, our law offices, our home cities and towns, and anywhere else we may go in life. Everybody, we are living in a big moment, and we are doing big things. Let's keep doing big things together.